So I am sitting here, I'm in between my 5th and 6th semester in Psych NP school, and I thought I'd give you an update on what I'm doing. There's probably 5 things that I'm focused on right now as I start to move into my very last 2 semesters. I'll tell you all about those in just a moment. Hey, my name is Rick. I'm a registered nurse and psychiatric nurse practitioner student. I share on my channel my adventures, my experiences, what's working for me while I'm going through nurse practitioner school, so that you can learn from that and help you get through it as well. So I've just finished doing my 5th semester. That was my first semester with a clinical rotation in it. I have a 7-semester program, so 2 more to go. In just another week, I will begin my 6th semester. It's in the summer, so it's going to be a short 10-week semester, and then on into my last one after that. But even though I still have 2 semesters to go, roughly 6.5 months until graduation, there are some things that I'm focused on right now. And I kind of wanted to bring you up to date on what those are and kind of what's taking up my time, what I'm really thinking about now, in addition to school, going into these last 2 semesters and really starting to think about, really starting to prepare to become a nurse practitioner and a psychiatric provider. So when I finished my 5th semester about 3 weeks ago, I took 2 weeks off. And I didn't completely step away from it. I did jump into Picmonic about every other day and did a quick quiz just to kind of keep myself fresh, keep my knowledge updated. But my wife and I, we went down to Florida and visited my brother, did a short 4-day cruise. We came back, then left the next day to visit with my daughter and her family at their beach house in Florida, and we spent a week down there. It was great to get away from everything. If you saw my video about the week in a life of a Psych NP student, you could see how hectic things were this last semester. So I was glad to take a little bit of downtime, but we got back last week, went straight into a shift in the ER, and now I am really starting to focus on the last 2 semesters, the next 6 months of my life, and finishing up Psych NP school. So there are 5 things that I am focused on right now as I move into the latter part of my program. And here's what they are. All right, so number 1, of course, is prepping for next semester. So next semester is a short summer semester for me. It's kind of what comes up in the rotation of my program. And it's all a clinical semester. Don't have any kind of classroom activities that I'm going to have to do. It's just getting 180 hours in on my clinical rotations. I did a video about how many hours I actually have to do in my clinical rotation, so you might want to check that one out. But next semester is 180 hours. That means I will be in the clinic at least 2 days a week for 9 hours each day to get my hours in. I have to also get a number of patient encounters with specific patient populations. Have to do so many geriatric encounters, so many adult encounters, and what's really been difficult for me is to get enough pediatric encounters. In our program, pediatric is, anybody under the age of 18. So I just really have had a tough time getting a lot of those, and I'll talk about what I'm going to do about that here in just a minute. Now the semester isn't just all about showing up and going into the practice, going into the clinic and seeing patients. I'm going to have a weekly board vitals exam. This is an exam that's helping us get prepared for our certification boards. I'm going to have discussion boards that I'm going to have to write posts for and respond to other people. I will also probably have a number of administrative duties that I have to take care of during the semester as well. So even though it's 10 weeks, even though it's only clinical rotations, there's still a ton of work that's going to happen in the next 10 weeks. So right now I'm kind of getting prepared for that. In the next day or so, my class schedule will be released. So I'm going to start filling up my calendar with all of my due dates of everything that needs to be done over the next 10 weeks. and just really focusing on getting prepared and ready to go for next semester. Number two, the second thing that I'm really focused on right now is I'm starting to seriously think about completing my Capstone Project. Now, if you're not familiar with a Capstone Project, I think this is unique to nurse practitioner programs, and I think every nurse practitioner program has something very similar to this. It's kind of like a master's thesis. I already have written about a 20-page preliminary project, which I did 2 semesters ago. We had a class that was specifically designed for us to get ready for this. So my Capstone Project, which will be a class I have to take in the last semester of my program, that'll be in the fall for me, in addition to 240 hours of clinical time. I've got to finish that project and get that turned in. I'm probably 10 to 15 pages still short on what the finished project looks like, so I'm thinking about what that's going to be involved. I'm not really sure. I haven't been given all of the information I need right away to know exactly what that final product's going to look like, but I'm already thinking about it. I know it's going to take a bunch of time in my last semester, and I'm just thinking about, all right, what more do I need in terms of reference resources? What other things do I need to include in my project? Our Capstone Project is a quality assurance program that we have to design and implement. Well, I shouldn't say quality assurance. It's a quality improvement program that we have to design and implement. Mine is based around the dietary effects on the symptoms of depression. Pretty interesting topic if you're into psychiatry, but that's what mine's about. As I said, I've written about 20 pages on it so far, probably another 10 or 15 more to go. So that's kind of taking up my time right now. It's not a great deal, but I'm thinking about what do I need to keep doing and keep pushing forward. So I'm just not slammed in that last semester doing all this writing, getting prepared for that Capstone Project. So the third thing I'm working on is my fall clinical site and preceptor. Now I've been with the same preceptor now for 2 semesters, this coming semester being my second semester with her, but I'm probably going to need to have another site in the last semester in the fall to get all the hours in. I also want to get a little bit of a different perspective from another preceptor and another type of psychiatric facility. So I have been working for more than a year and a half to get in at a specific site here in town. It's a site I think I would like to go to work for when I graduate, but it has taken more than a year and a half of networking, emailing, talking for one person in that site to raise their hand and say, hey, I'll be a preceptor for you in the fall. Still don't have it locked down, still don't have it all the paperwork done. I'm waiting for some things to come back from that person. But that's a big project for me over the summer, is getting the fall preceptor nailed, getting the fall clinical site nailed. School's already asking me for the paperwork to do that. They're already asking me who it is. So I've got to make that a priority over the summer. And that has occupied a lot of my thought, and now will start to occupy a lot of my time over the next few weeks and maybe into most of the summer. The other part of that is, and I mentioned this earlier, is I have got to get more pediatric patient encounters. So I've got to find a pediatric clinical site, and I have struck out across the board trying to find one, but I've got to find another pediatric clinical site to pick up the rest of my pediatric encounters. I have some done, but it's not enough, and I'm not going to get enough at the 2 sites I've already nailed down for clinical rotations. So I've got to find some place for that. And that's really starting to become a point of concern for me, that I just don't have that site yet. The ones I've contracted or contacted so far, all of them have struck out. They don't have any desire to have anybody in there. So I'm not sure where I'm going to go with that as I sit here today. So I'll keep you updated on that, but that's a big piece I've got to work on here before I get into my last 2 semesters. The fourth thing that I'm working on right now is I'm starting to get ready for my board exams. Now, my preceptor told me that she was able to take her board exam before she even graduated. Now, that's been several years ago. I don't know if that's possible now, but I'm already starting to think about those board exams. My school, I don't know how they did it, but they've got a program with Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald is a board exam prep company that gives us 6 months free access to their board exam prep program. That is something that I'm going to start after my next semester, because I only have 6 months access to it. I don't want to start it now because then I'll lose access to it before I actually take the board exam. So I'm going to wait until probably in August. This is the end of May. I'm going to wait till August before I jump into that. But in the meantime, I do have access to something our school had us buy as part of last semester called Board Vitals. It has a lot of board practice exams in there that I'll be working on. It's also going to be part of my clinical rotation for this next semester. Is every week I'll have an exam I have to take in that, and that becomes part of my grade for the clinical rotation. I also have this book here. I don't know if you can make it out. It is Psychiatric Mental Health Nurse Practitioner Review and Resource Manual. This is from the ANA. It is put together for people to help prepare for their boards. So I've got that. I plan to be reading through that, every day, if not a few days a week during the next semester and coming up to board exams as well to get prepared for that. But board exams is critical. You've got to pass them in order to practice as an advanced practice nurse, and that's something I've just got to start thinking about now, because I'm finally getting to the end of my program, and that light at the end of the tunnel is actually in sight. Finally, the last thing that I'm kind of preoccupied with right now is actually searching for a job. I did a video about this a couple of weeks ago, and I think some people might be surprised that here I am 6, maybe 7 months away before I even can talk to an employer. Why am I searching for a job? Well, I think it's going to take that. Even though there's a great demand for nurse practitioners in my specialty, doesn't mean I can just sit around and start applying to things online after I graduate. I'm networking with people. I'm researching the different employers in my area that I might want to go to work for. I've already ruled some out. They're just not a place that I want to go to work because of the way they handle patients or the way that they want their nurse practitioners to work. There are other places I'm researching. I'm using LinkedIn to connect with people that work there. I'm reaching out to people in my personal network that have connections there to get introductions. Actually, this afternoon, one of my potential employers is having a hiring event. Now, they're not hiring me as a nurse practitioner, but their behavioral health aspect is hiring registered nurses. So I'm going to go to that with my resume. I'm going to talk to the people there. I would probably only be interested in doing something PRN if they had an opening or an opportunity like that as a nurse, but I want to get on the radar screen. And that's something I would encourage you to do. If you're down to the last 2 semesters of your nurse practitioner program, you need to start thinking about getting on the radar screen of potential employers. Start networking, start thinking about who those employers would be. And equally important, think about who you would not go to work for. Because when you go through all of this, you go through all this training, you spend all this money to become a nurse practitioner, you don't want to then go to a place and work and be miserable. So think about what is the ideal work situation for you. I've done that. I know what I'm looking for. I am in a position where I can be a little bit picky about it. So that's what I'm doing right now. It may change as I get into the reality of it, but that's what I'm doing right now, and that's kind of the 5th thing that I'm focused on right now. All right, so that's where we are. That's where I am with things. About to get into my second to last semester. I'm thinking about preparing for this next semester. I'm thinking about my Capstone Project, which is going to be in my final semester. I'm looking at fall preceptors and clinical sites for my last semester. I'm looking at getting prepared for boards, and I'm thinking about where I might go to work once I graduate, because it's coming fast. 6 months is going to go by in a quick amount of time. So that's kind of where I am with things today. I hope that helps. Any questions? Please leave them in the comments. As you know, if you've been a part of this channel for any length of time, I respond to every single comment. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing to the channel. I do a video about once, every 10 days or so as I have time. That kind of tapers off maybe a little bit during the semester. And if you would like to be part of our community, we have a community that gives you access to a lot of cheat sheets and resources that I've put together. I've got way more information to share. I usually do that through email, way more than I can share in videos. So if you want to be a part of that, just click at the link in the description. I'll put it in the comments as well, and you can be a part of our community. Until the next video, hang in there. You can do this. If you're thinking about becoming a nurse practitioner or you're already in school, happy to help you in any way I can. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.